Hey guys, it's Luke, and this video is going to be me talking about 10 animated movies that I consider to be the most underrated. And while this video is not a top 10, I will say that the movie I'm going to talk about last is the one that I consider to be the most underrated. So enjoy, and spoilers ahead. So, Meet the Robinsons is the first movie I want to talk about in this video. This is a movie I don't see getting talked about enough, and it really should be talked about more since it's a pretty great movie. And the main reason why I say that is because the keep moving forward message is my favorite thing about the movie, because there have been times in my life when I can get stuck in the past with things, but that message and the movie itself is a good reminder to just keep going forward in life. There are also other things that make this movie great as well, such as Goob being a great villain, the character arc Lewis goes through, and the creative way the future is shown. So yeah, this movie really deserves more attention. And lastly, another thing that's good proof of how underrated this movie is the credits of Wish not showing a character from it. And I remember thinking to myself, wait, where's Meet the Robinsons when the credits of Wish played when I saw it in theaters? Moving on to The Princess and the Frog, as you guys already know, this is my favorite Disney movie. I've seen it not get talked about a whole lot, and one thing that I know contributes to that is that it didn't do great at the box office back in 2009. And the reasons why I think this movie should be less underrated are that it has a really good message about finding time for fun and socializing and not just working all the time. And while I'm a hardworking man, I don't want or like to overwork myself. The songs and characters are great. Dr. Facilier is an amazing villain, and he's my personal favorite Disney villain. The character arcs that Tiana and Veen go through are very well done, and Charlotte is one of the best friends I've seen in a Disney movie, and her relationship with Tiana is also great. And another thing I'll say is that after I first saw this movie in December of 2019, I was obsessing a lot over this movie, and my love for it was why it was my first Everything Wrong with Simpsons video, since Jeremy was way too harsh on it, and I wanted to let him know what I thought of that. And while there currently are a few animated movies I like more than this one, this is still in my top 10. And yeah, this should be less underrated. With Soul, I do know that one thing that contributes to being underrated is that it was released straight to Disney+, though to me that was understandable in 2020, but even with that, this is a phenomenal movie in my eyes, with an excellent message about what it means to live, how we don't need a purpose, and that we may not always be happy when/if we reach our goals. And I also really relate to the movie saying that we should embrace what's happening right now and live every minute of our lives. And that's because I like to focus on present moments and not think too far ahead in the future. So yeah, this movie definitely needs more attention. Now, the next movie I'd like to talk about is Brave. While I do consider this movie to be one of my lesser favorite movies from Pixar, it's still a great movie to me, and the only Pixar movie that I don't consider great and just good is Lightyear. And I say that this movie is great because I mainly like how it goes away from the typical Disney princess trope, not that that's a bad thing, since Merida never finds a love interest in the movie, and the movie in general tells a fun story, has good character development, some pretty intense moments, especially the scenes with Mordu, and is overall just enjoyable. And I've played the Wii game based on the movie, and that was fun too. And again, this is far from Pixar's best, and I do think the Oscar for Best Animated Film of 2012 should have gone to Wreck-It Ralph instead of this. But regardless, I feel like this movie should get talked about more. Now, with The Iron Giant, while I know that this movie is considered an absolute classic by many nowadays, myself included, and it is one of my favorite movies, I do know that what makes this movie be considered underrated is things like these. It didn't perform well at the box office, didn't have much marketing, has a more niche appeal compared to other animated works, the technical innovations aren't fully appreciated, and that other animated movies have foreshadowed it. But despite those, I think this movie should be appreciated more since it is still in general a fantastic classic with a great story, great characters, and it makes you very emotional. Moving on to The Adventures of Tintin, this is one that I really think should be talked about more. And that's not just because I haven't seen it talked about a lot, but also because of how great this movie is. It's got amazing realistic motion capture visuals, and I thought the movie was live action when I first saw it as a kid. Great faithfulness to the comics, which I've been a fan of since I was a kid, as well as the series from the 90s. And a good amount of deviations that work really well, great action sequences, and it's overall just an awesome movie. And while it's awesome on its own, if it does eventually get a sequel, hopefully it'll be as good as this. And yeah, this needs to be talked about more. Now let's talk about The Book of Life. While I do think that Coco is the better animated movie about Day of the Dead, I still think that this is an amazing movie and should get more attention. And I say that because of a few things. The stunning animation, the great backgrounds, especially The Land of the Remembered, the engaging story with great character arcs, especially the ones that Manola and Joaquin go through, fun and great characters, and my favorite character in the movie is La Muerte, and amazing songs. And my favorite song from the movie is the Apology song. And yeah, this is yet another movie that I don't think gets talked about enough, and because of that, I absolutely recommend it if you haven't seen it. Now, with The Little Prince, I'll first start by saying that I've seen both the movie and read the original book, and while the book is amazing, I also think the movie is amazing as well, and it's a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And the main reasons why I think this movie should get more attention is these following things. The visuals are fantastic for both the 3D animation and the stop-motion animation during The Little Prince's story, the faithfulness to the source material, the differences that work really well, fun and great characters, a good amount of heart, and the messages of not forgetting about being a child and what matters most, even if we may not always be able to see it. And yeah, this is one movie I don't think gets talked about enough. Now, with Turning Red, while I don't have a whole lot to say about why I think this movie should be less underrated, since you guys already know how big of a fan I am of it and that it's my favorite movie, I will say that while I know that the movie isn't for everyone, it's still a great one to connect with when you're going through a change in life, which happens a lot throughout life. And that is one of the reasons why I love it so much, and even if you can't relate to everything from it, you still can in your own ways, which is the case for me. So yeah, this is another animated movie that should be less underrated in my opinion. And I'll also say that the movie has a few scenes that always bring a smile to my face. Now, the last movie I'd like to talk about in this video is The Boxtrolls, and I'm specifically talking about this movie last because I think this is the most underrated animated movie ever. And I say that because I never see this movie get talked about. In my eyes, that's a shame because it's a really great movie in my opinion. And I say that because this movie has really stunning stop motion animation, and it shows how talented Leica is with their stop motion visuals, like with their other 4 movies. It tells an engaging story with a very good message about how you make yourself who you are and nothing else does. Has fun characters and an amazing villain and fun action scenes. So overall, out of all the animated movies in this video, I think this one deserves to get talked about more than most. And I'll also say that I don't consider this movie to be my least favorite movie from Leica, as well as that my mom would also say that this is a great movie. So that was my list, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and have a nice day.